Hi, It Fights Back here. I ran 237 Tier 11 maps with as much investment as possible. I have currency analysis, map drop statistics, graphs, percentages, and more, and I'm going to go over all of that here. A link to this spreadsheet is in the description below if you would like to look at it yourself. I am going to try to go through this quickly. All maps were run with 20% quality, 80% minimum quantity, 3 sacrifice fragments, 4 red sextants, and essence from the map device. This is the overview sheet detailing the raw currency drops, map drops, breach splinters, and total cost investment. I detailed much of this on separate tabs, so we will come back to this. I will start with Sextants. For each set of 3 maps, I detailed which Sextant mods were ran on those maps, as well as the number of Sextants needed to bypass the mods I did not want to run. These Sextant mods did not add anything of value to the drops of the maps. On the right here, I totaled the number of times I rolled each Sextant mod and calculated the percentage that each showed up along the 458 Sextants used. I only got 5 Master Sextant mods with about a 1% likelihood, which makes me really shake my head. There was about a 30% chance to get Extra Monsters mod, which is the mod you are most looking for as it adds many monsters to your maps. About a 16% chance for past league modifiers, 19% chance for other mods that add something minorly beneficial, and the rare mods showed up at a little under 3% of the time. It baffles me that these mods are more common than the master mods. Lastly, 31% of the Sextant mods were rerolled. Now let's look at the map drops. I will reiterate that I invested about as much into these maps as I possibly could. You can get more map drops by running Breach or Harbinger on the map device, but I wanted to look more at what the base maps give you while also farming some essences. That added a little bit to drops, I am sure, but not too much. Across 237 maps, 815 maps dropped, which is about 3.4 map drops per map. I calculated the percentage of total map drops for each tier, as well as the percentage likelihood for a given tier of map to drop in these juice up tier 11 maps. All of the charts here are the same, but are there for easier visualization of the different statistics I gathered. All in all, there was a 131% chance for a tier 11 or higher map to drop. All 12 T13 maps that dropped all came from bosses. Looking at this got me thinking. With 154 Atlas bonus, I have a 54% chance that a map drops 2 tiers higher. Given the map drop rates and understanding of the Atlas bonus, you would think that 54% of T11 maps that dropped should be tier 13 maps. So let's consider that I had 0 Atlas bonus. All 10 of the T2 maps would be tier 1 maps, and 50% of the tier 3 maps would also be tier 1 maps, giving me a total of 25. This would continue to cascade downwards, and I did this below. So theoretically, these are the map drop numbers before Atlas bonus is considered, leaving a 34% chance to drop a T11 or higher map. Now, I am not eagerly trying to clear my Atlas bonus to test these numbers, but it really makes you think. Looking at these numbers and seeing that T11 maps certainly drop, I wanted to reiterate the process forward, giving my understanding of the Atlas bonus. In this case, 50% of the 75 T11 maps would be tier 13 maps. I carried that process through and created a third set of charts. In this case, with 150 Atlas bonus, the percentage to get a T11 or higher map is 125%. This is less than the actual test, but here, 40 of the map drops are tier 13 maps with 3 tier 14 maps. Now, I imagine these maps would not be able to drop if you did not have the maps completed on the Atlas, but looking at these numbers, it really looks like the map drop rates I expect. This begs the question, if you have completed so much of the Atlas, should you have the chance to drop a tier 13 map once out of every 6 tier 11 maps that are roided beyond reason? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Moving on to essences. I ran essence on 229 of the 237 maps and dropped 1,499 total essences. I entered them into the table here. They look really pretty in the stash tab. Anyways, I used the power of spreadsheets to convert these essences up so I could leave them looking pretty in the stash in order to calculate their value. Given the value of essences, before we even have the ability to use them on fractured items in the Synthesis League, I generated 518 chaos of potential profit here. Not to mention, the Essence of Horror is like 125 chaos in standard, so you can see here that that greatly changes the numbers. I also tracked Remnants of Corruption. I recorded the essence state before and after using the Remnants of Corruption and calculated percentage values that each possibility happened. In my test, I used 98 Remnants of Corruption and had 28 of them change the essence, which is the result needed on a Scorn, Envy, Misery, or Dread essence to get an Insanity, Horror, Delirium, or Hysteria. I only dropped 20 Remnants of Corruption, so if you're playing solo self-found farming essences, you will only roughly be able to corrupt 1/5 of the essences you would want to. There is nothing glamorous on the Divination Card tab. I recorded the number of each Divination Card I got and where they came from. I did, however, calculate the percentage drop chance of div cards in the maps they drop in over the number of that type of map I ran. There are 3 div cards which are not thought to drop in the tier 11 map pool, being the Summoner, Volatile Power, and the Endurance. I did not recall which maps these Divination cards were dropping in. I also got the Sephiroth off a Dominus kill in the Palace map. This is the first time I've ever seen this card drop from its actual source. If you are running any increased item drop quantity on your build, these percentages will definitely be higher. At the bottom are singled out valuable divination cards from divination strongboxes, omitting the garbage. This looks like a mess, but it is even worse in the actual stash tab. On the rares tab, I have screen captures of each of the rare items I picked up that I thought might be worth selling. Here, alongside the pictures of the items, is a link to the PoE trade search I used to price check each item. This may be a valuable tool to you if you're still learning how to value rare items. You can open up the link to the trade search and see exactly how I price checked each of these items. I will note that in T11 maps, you cannot get tier 1 rolls on most items, so finding something anywhere decent is much more rare than, say, T13 maps would be. I price things in a way that they might sell eventually, rather than sell instantly. Some things may never sell, but it is a steady source of income. For uniques, I did the same thing. I linked my price check search. Every unique item I thought to sell sold, aside from a decently rolled Gale site listed for 2 chaos. Link to the spreadsheet is in the description below if you want to investigate further. I found a couple of beasts worth selling. They are rather easy to sell if you are aware you have a beast worth anything. This brings me back to the overview page to look at currency analysis. Here, all of the currency drops are converted into chaos value, as well as the maps with generous rates. Considering the large investment into red sextants and sacrifice fragments from the standard map drops, being currency, maps, divination cards, and breach splinters, I lost a little over 400 chaos from this experiment. However, when you factor in the cost and profits from essences, I made 100 chaos. If you factor in the variable profit, such as rares, uniques, and beasts, I made roughly 700 chaos, or 5.5 exalts. You can't factor in an exalt drop and a Phenumal hybrid arachnid into your currency analysis because they are so rare. If you ran 237 maps with this much investment, I promise you are going to find something of value. It may not be an exalt and a beast. Maybe you drop an impulsus or a shavs. You'll find something. Now for the last bit. I isolated all drops from Zana missions, temple runs, delve, the memory nexus, and safe houses. All of this content I was able to run without any investment, given that I ran all of the maps that I did. For June and Alva, I prioritized the most value. I gathered roughly 48,000 sulfite, ran below depth 300. In the memory nexus, I ignored all rewards and rushed the bosses. No one wants fractured items that can't roll tier 1 rolls. And for Zana, I chose the highest quantity T12 map offered, aside from 3 putrid cloisters. I ended up getting more fossils from memory modifiers in the nexus that I had gotten previously than I did from delving. All this netted me an additional 15.6 exalts in profit. bringing me to a total of 21.3x profit from non-Magic Find juiced Tier 11 maps just by playing the game. Now, I have 219 Tier 12 maps. I began this with 92 Tier 11 maps and ran them until I had no more groups of 3 maps for Sextants, yielding 237 maps. I don't want to spend the next 3 weeks running Tier 12 maps, so this is my current plan moving forward. I'm going to quality and alch the Tier 12 maps I have. Record the quantity and run them without Sextants or fragments. The resulting Tier 12 maps I get from this will then be run with the full investment I did for the Tier 11 maps. So at the end, we can compare not only the difference between T11 and T12 map drops, but also minimal versus full investment. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or would like to see me do something differently, and subscribe for more Path of Exile content. This ring is insane, eh?